Hello and welcome to another edition of ProtoBalls Talk. I'm ProtoMet.
This is my Recycle Balls, and today we're going to be watching Empire, the 8-hour film by Andy Warhol.
And joining us is no one. Surprised? So am I. Anyway, no, we're not actually going to be watching Empire. That's an 8-hour movie, which is just a shot of the Empire State Building, and that's it.
Like, throughout the course of a day. Granted, throughout the course of a day, but it's just the Empire State Building. There's nothing special about it. I wouldn't... It's
an Andy Warhol movie. Of course it's going to be an art piece.
No. Today we're talking about the final piece of the puzzle, of the gunslinging puzzle.
The Dollars trilogy.
Yep.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I'll concede that this is Sergio Leone's,
most famous movie?
Most popular film. It's easily his most popular film. I refuse to say it's his best, though.
I never said best.
No,
I just said most popular.
I know, but a lot of people, and I disagree with them, think that The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is his best movie, and that's their opinion. That's fine. I'll concede it's his most popular. It's the one he's known for. I won't say it's his best, even by the man's admission. Even by the man's own words, he wouldn't say that's his best movie. He, of course, would say a different movie to mine.
Some of the music pieces in this movie are actually quite familiar, especially the opening theme, which has basically become synonymous with Westerns.
Yeah. Anytime somebody's ready for a shootout, that sort of stereotypical music comes on. Yeah, that's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
This is also the longest movie we've watched for this show at almost 3 hours. I don't think this podcast will be nearly as long, but we'll get into that when we get there.
I don't know if we go to the Wrath of Khan radius.
I mean, that one's a pretty long episode.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that long. So a fun little tidbit about The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. No Gian Maria Volonte this time.
Yeah, he's the only one from the first two movies who doesn't return in this movie.
Yep.
Clint Eastwood does, though.
Clint Eastwood does, yes, absolutely.
And Lee Van Cleef returns from the second movie.
Lee Van Cleef does as well. So, and joining them is Eli Wallach, which I think this might be his most famous film.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. So, a little fun fact about Sergio Leone. I don't think I ever mentioned this in the first episode. He's only directed 8 films. And technically 7.5, because the first one he directed, The Last Days of Pompeii from 1959, he was co-director. Actually, he was more like an assistant director. So... yeah, A Fistful of Dollars was his third movie that he had directed. And Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was his 5th. So that should tell you it's sort of the evolutionary scale of Sergio Leone's directing. That he went from A Fistful of Dollars, which is a very basic film, it's a very nicely shot film, to The Good, and the Bad, and the Ugly, which is admittedly a beautifully shot film. It has a lot of set pieces. It makes use of a lot of quiet moments. So
there are a lot of settings in this movie.
A
lot more settings than in the previous couple movies.
This movie is heavily plot driven.
Oh hell yeah!
Like you take out the first half hour of Good and the Bad and the Ugly, and you don't know what's going on. You only get bits and pieces in context.
But it handles it so masterfully. But let's actually start talking about the movie proper.
Yeah, let me just pull it up. So yeah, The Good and the Bad, the Ugly, 1966 is when it came out. In Italian, it's Il Buono, Il Brutto, Il Cattivo.
Or The Ugly, the Bad, the Good.
Yeah.
You guys on YouTube are seeing that on the poster that we're using for this episode.
It's a very nice poster,
too.
too.
A nice poster.
December 23rd, 1966, 177 minutes. Yeah, about 3 hours.
It's like, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw...
Just under 3 hours, actually.
When I saw how long this movie was, I was a little intimidated. I expected it to be like an hour and a half. I figured we'd get it done and dusted pretty quickly, but then I saw how long it was. It's like, oh boy.
We've made a terrible mistake. So, another fun thing to note is the budget, which was $1.2 billion, and they managed to get a ton... To put that into perspective, 4 years earlier, Dr. No, the first James Bond movie, also had a $1 million budget. And this had a shit ton more people than Dr. No, I think.
Yeah. Especially for those one particular scenes.
Yep.
But we'll get to those soon enough.
The box office was $25.1 million. So the movie starts off in just the middle of bumfuck nowhere. We've also established that the setting is between February and April of 1962, since this takes place in New Mexico.
During the Civil War.
So yes, this is a prequel of sorts.
Yes.
And it becomes obvious it's a sequel by the end, or prequel by the end.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
3 random dudes show up. It looks like they're going to have a shootout with each other, but instead they decide to bust into this one place to shoot up another guy.
They bust into the saloon, and
we hear gunfire, and then a dude jumps through the window with the tagline "The Ugly" written underneath him.
Yep, we're introduced to the first main character of the movie, Tuco Ramirez, the a Mexican bandit. Who's worth like $2,000
at this point, yes.
Yeah.
And we also learn the fates of those 3 men as we see them lying on the floor.
One tries to come out and shoot Tuco, and he just like falls limply because he just dies before he can shoot. And all 3 men are killed. The best part about Tuco's introduction, when he jumps out of the window, he's holding. It does a freeze frame, and he's got like his mouth agape, and he's all ah! And he's holding onto a piece of meat. He's holding onto like a turkey leg and a bottle of beer. Oh, Tuco's great. He's the best part of this movie by far. He is. And you know what? He's the driving force of the movie too.
Yeah. I mean, if not for this guy, the plot of this movie would not progress at all.
No. So yeah, Tuco gets away. So then we cut to another scene where this kid is riding on a mule, which is turning a like a water wheel, and he sees somebody coming up from the distance, and he gets off his he gets off.
He just abandons his donkey.
He just abandons Clint Eastwood and the guy riding the horse.
Clint Eastwood is not in the scene.
No, he's not in the scene.
That was a lot funnier as we were watching it, not gonna lie. With actually saying that. The joke doesn't work in just us saying it, not gonna lie.
He gets off the mule and he just leaves the guy behind. And it becomes obvious who the guy is. It's Lee Van Cleef. And he plays a different character to Douglas Mortimer. Completely different character.
In this movie, he's playing a character known as Angel Eyes.
He's playing Angel Eyes Sentenza, as his name is. And he comes across some guy who's...
He decides to pay a visit to...
Who, as it turns out, is a former Confederate soldier. I don't think that's established in the movie.
Not really. I mean...
It can be inferred.
But it's not outright stated.
Yeah. So this guy's a former Confederate soldier. They're in New Mexico, so you know.
Yes.
So he interrogates this guy, and
the dude basically quietly has his wife and son exit the room.
Yep.
While he and Angel Eyes have a chat. And he's pleading ignorance about what's all going on. But Lee
So-
Van Cleef, he's having none of that.
So Angel Eyes is interrogating this guy over another person who's going under an assumed name. Jackson is the name. And so this guy, Stevens, as his name is, basically says, I don't know nothing about no cash box, yo.
Lee Van Cleef didn't say anything about a cash box.
Lee Van Cleef is like, oh, do tell.
It's like, well, I didn't want to know about any cash box until you brought it up. Let's see, who was the guy who hired him to find this information? Barton?
Baker. So yeah, Baker had basically hired Angel Eyes to get the information out of Stevens before he, I mean, it's Angel Eyes. He's a bounty hunter. Well, not really a bounty hunter. He's a hired goon.
And Stevens asked how much Baker paid.
$500.
$500.
Here's 1,000. 1,000. That's a tidy sum. But whenever I've taken money from somebody, I gotta carry out a contract. And he just proceeds to shoot him dead. Kills his kid, too! He murders his boy! Look what they did to my boy! Oh! Actually, The Godfather might be longer.
Yeah, makes it. Yeah.
Just thinking about that, thinking of long.
I tried watching that one time, and then my TV crapped out on me.
Oof. But was it at least entertaining what you watched?
Oh yeah, I would.
Yeah.
If I had the time, I would definitely watch more of it and actually finish watching it.
That's a Ford Coppola movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Francis Ford Coppola does have some great movies, except Dracula. It's okay, but it's not his best.
So yeah, we established that Lee Van Cleef's Angel Eyes is the bad.
Yeah, he's easily the bad guy. So yeah. Also, we get the information about about Jackson, who's hiding under an assumed name, Bill Carson.
This will become relevant later.
Yes. Let's stick a pin in that. So then, so that he returns to Baker.
Tells Baker most of the information he's gotten.
And so Baker's delighted. And then Angel Eyes proceeds to tell him, oh yeah, by the way, Stevens, he offered me $1,000.
Presumably to kill you.
Presumably to kill you. And when I take money, I always carry out a contract. And then he proceeds to put a pillow, because from what it looked like, Baker's ill.
Baker is ill.
He's
like
dying.
he looks like he's on his last legs. It's like this guy probably just wants the money to get a good doctor to look at him and hopefully not die. Just like, all the scumbags.
Yeah.
But Angel Eyes puts a pillow over his face and then shoots him 3 times through the pillow.
So yeah, he's established as the bad.
The bad.
So then we come back to Tuco.
He's on a hangman's noose.
Well, he's not quite yet. He's out in the middle of nowhere, and he's been caught by a couple of dudes who are like, aha, we got you, Tuco. All right, now to get that money. And some guy shows up, stops them, outguns them, and then we finally find out who it is.
Clint Eastwood.
It's Clint Eastwood, the man with no name, wearing a very different outfit from what he had in the other two movies.
Yes.
It becomes obvious why.
And then Tuco winds up on a hangman's noose.
Yeah. So Clint Eastwood asks him, "So how much are you worth now?" About $3,000. $3,000. That's a lot of money. Next scene, we see Clint Eastwood dragging Tuco to town, and Tuco is fucking blasting him, giving all sorts of, he's just swearing up a storm. I think my favorite part is, and your mother. Nobody talks about your mother. Dude's talking mad shit. I'm just a farmer. The sheriff comes out and he's like, yeah, take a look at this. This looks exactly like you. And you say you're a farmer? Tuca's just like, shit. So yeah, they got him at the end of a hangman's noose. And
the dude starts listing off the charges being laid against this guy, and I don't remember what most of them are, but two of them stuck out to us quite like a sore thumb. One was the rape of a white woman, and the statutory rape of a black girl.
Oh no! Oh no! Tuco's a pedophile.
Oh no!
I mean, it doesn't matter what race they are. It's just like...
It's still... What the fuck?
What the fuck, dude?
It's like, Jesus. Oh, God, no.
Yeah, one of our heroes is an absolute terrible person.
Wait, what? He's a good guy?
Yeah, he's a good... Would you believe he's a good guy?
Oh, God. This stuck with us for the remainder of the movie.
Until it was like, Tuco's pretty likable, even the pedophilia aside.
Oh, it's just, oh man. I mean, I knew we had to talk about it at one point, so I'm glad we're getting it out of the way now. But yeah. God damn. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on the end of a hangman's noose, and Clint Eastwood is standing nearby, and
like on a balcony.
And just as the executioner is about to whip the horse to pull the horse out from underneath Tuco, Clint Eastwood fires off a shot that shoots away the executioner's switch, fires off another shot that severs the hangman's noose and saves Tuco. Yep. And simultaneously scaring off the horse, so...
Well, at first, yeah, he lands on the horse and they ride away. And then Clint Eastwood jumps onto a carriage and scares the horses into going. So then they meet outside of town, and there's...
Turns out the two have been conspiring to get the reward money for Tuco.
Yeah.
And split it.
Yeah. Basically, Tuco gives himself up, and then Clint Eastwood gets the reward money, and then when he's about to be hung, Clint Eastwood just saves him, and they both...
But Tuco isn't entirely pleased with how the money is being divided, because he's not getting half of what the reward money is, especially now that it's up to 3,000.
Yep, and Clint Eastwood basically tells him, yeah, your neck may hang at the end of a rope, but who shoots the rope? A little off to the left, you never know. Oh. So then they repeat the process a second time.
So Tuco's back at the hangman's noose.
But then we get Angel Eyes. Angel Eyes is on the scene, and he's just watching, observing.
Not interfering or doing anything.
No.
Same process. List of charges is read off. We're not given... I don't recall any of the specifics from this one other than that it's one more charge than previously.
It was the second one. It was the second one where his charges where we're like, what? Wait, what?
Pretty sure it was the first one.
It was the second one.
Okay.
Because I was trying to I was trying to hear what the charges were, and here you were off blabbing about God knows what. I forget what TV show had Godzilla in it that you were talking about.
Yeah. That's a topic for another video, probably on another channel. But,
yeah.
But, so yeah, the same process gets repeated, except this time, the second bullet only manages to graze the noose and barely fray it.
Yeah, and the horse rides off, and
Tuco is partially left stranded there hanging by the neck, and a third shot rings out and finally severs the hangman's noose, and
they both run off together. By the way, in order to get away, Clint's shooting off everybody's hats.
Yeah, I love that. Even the first time, he shoots everybody's... After shooting the hangman's noose, he shoots off everybody's hats.
Just to leave them in a state of confusion, so they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It works.
It works.
So then Tuco and
I think by this point it's established that Clint Eastwood is the good.
Yep, he's established as the good.
But Tuco is complaining about that second shot not hitting its mark, and I'm fairly confident that Clint Eastwood or Blondie, as he's referred to in this movie. So his full name is Joe Blondie Manco.
Joe Blondie Manco, the Americano.
I'm pretty confident that Blondie intentionally missed that first shot to prove a point.
That might be it.
To try and scare Tuco into giving him a bigger cut from now on into the bigger cut they've been going for already. But Tuco is friggin' mad.
Yep.
And I think at this point Clint Eastwood decides to cut his losses, forces Tuco out into the desert, tells him that it's 70 miles to the next town, and rides off.
Wait! Blondie! Wait! Wait! Blondie!
So eventually Tuco makes it to town and is able to get water, and he is sun-chapped as hell.
He's pissed.
And pissed.
Yeah.
Now, around this time, I think Angel Eyes, he was actually in town.
He was
in town to witness the hanging, but also he was asking
he was asking around information, and he got it from a half-soldier. By half-soldier, we mean he's...
The dude has no legs. It's not even a special effect. This actor did not have legs.
Yep.
He's like...
Oh man, he had the best line in the
He does though. He is a good character.
Yeah. So he basically bargains for information, as people do. You know, hey, pay me a little, and
it's kind of like the one kid from
he's
a
like
few dollars more.
Yep.
Except that he doesn't push his luck.
Yep.
That hard.
And the Angel Eyes is, not like he won't kill him. He won't just kill him randomly.
No,
Angel Eyes won't kill randomly.
Right.
He's just a mercenary.
Yeah. But he gets the information, learns that Bill Carson re-enlisted after changing his name and is now part of the 3rd Cavalry.
3rd Cavalry. Has a
and has an eye patch over one eye.
Yep. And so, Angel Eyes pays him and walks off. And he runs, and immediately the first thing the half man does is he runs into
He goes into the bar and is like, Jim, pass me down a bottle.
Jim, get me a whiskey.
Hand me down. He specifically calls out the fact that he's a lot shorter than everybody else.
Jim, hand me down a whiskey. Oh, man. The humor in this movie is great. It's funny.
It's more humorous than the previous movie.
Honestly, it's almost a comedy.
Almost. I mean, if not for the jokes, this would be a rather grim, serious movie. But it is full of quite a bit of humor.
And as can be established, this chest of money is a MacGuffin. I think we can just call it outright. It's a MacGuffin.
It's not super important to the plot. It's not. It's really just there to have the characters be motivated to progress through the plot.
Yep.
And wow, this.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how far into the movie we are at this point.
We're only like half an hour in, almost.
Yeah.
Give me just a second.
Yeah, we're trying to remember what happens next.
So Tuco was left behind,
I remember what happens next. Tuco does revive from being stranded in the desert and does find does find Blondie again.
Yeah, so he tracks down Blondie to
Who
another town.
was about to pull the same stunt that he'd been pulling with Tuco. You know, the whole hand him over to the feds, then shoot down the hangman's noose.
Yeah, okay, so there's a great scene right after he manages to make it to town after being left behind. So he's you know, getting ready from a trough. He's putting water on him because he's all sun-chapped and shit. And then he just breaks into a store as it's closing.
He breaks into a gun shop as it's closing.
Yep.
Basically asks to see the revolvers and takes bits and pieces from the different revolvers to cobble together a revolver that is just to his specifications. As for cartridges, goes out back to fire them up, to test fire them. Manages to not only bullseye all 3 targets, but then when the targets are on their sides, he manages to knock the heads off of 2 of the targets from the side, seemingly missing the 4th one until he jumps up, the 3rd one, until he jumps up and the head just falls off.
the gun clerk, the store clerk, he's just like, ah, shit.
And Tuco asks him, how much? How much is it?
$50. And it points the gun at him.
No, he starts off at $20.
Oh, yeah. $20.
Then Tuco points the gun at him and is like, $50?
$100? $200? Okay.
That's all I have!
Yeah, take that. So yeah, he wasn't asking how much, he was asking how much he had in his register. He was robbing him, basically. Dude got robbed.
And then, just as he's leaving, he takes the close sign that had been hanging on the front of the door until he showed up and hung it on the inside of the door, and he
tells the guy to open his mouth.
To go, and then sticks the close sign in his mouth and leaves.
Yeah. So then we get another scene of Tuco by himself with a dead chicken for no reason.
I assume he stole it.
Yep. I'm assuming he stole it.
Going to a cave hideout of his, I assume.
Yep. And he's all like, poor Tuco, all alone. Nobody here to talk to Tuco.
And then he starts reminiscing about his 3 buddies.
2 of which are Ramon and Esteban.
Which got us like, oh! And then Ramon, Esteban, and the 3rd guy show up, and they're not who we thought they were.
And we're like, that's right, Gian Maria Volonte's not in this movie.
It's like,
Dang.
That would have been a nice call forward.
Yeah.
But no, the guys who was mentioning are characters in this movie who are unrelated to the ones from the previous movies.
Yep. So then
at first, I thought this was just him having a dream sequence of his buddies showing up. But no, they do actually show up.
They actually show up.
It does feel a little surreal, but it's not intended to be.
Because, like, he looks up, and
ropes come down.
And ropes start coming down.
And his buddies descend from the ropes, and it just seems so surreal, like he's just imagining it. But nope, this is actually happening. It's like, okay.
Yep. So then we cut to another town where there's a bunch of Confederates walking around. They're leaving. They're getting ready to leave because the town's about to be shelled by Union forces. And there's this guy at the hotel who's like, about time these motherfuckers leave, then we can start profiting off the Yanks. Yay, Dixie! Yay, Dixie! And immediately afterwards he gets a gun shoved in his cheek by Tuco. And they're like, alright, where is he? Tall, blonde? I don't know nothing, man. I don't know nothing. That's not what I wanted to hear. He's upstairs. Then we cut to Blondie, cleaning his gun, for the most part. And with all the noise outside, he can't hear them coming upstairs and coming to his door. And
he does hear something, and he starts loading his gun.
Things start to quiet, and he hears a spur outside his door.
He starts quickly loading his gun. It's actually kind of tense. Is he going to get it all loaded before this happens?
He does.
He does.
He does.
Like, just as the door opens, he finishes loading his gun, levels it, and shoots and fires off 3 shots, downing all 3 men, though one of them does manage to survive. So much for that.
And
he does finish off the 3rd guy, though.
But the guy's like, your spurs, pow! Like there's a final parting shot. It's like, I was onto you the moment I heard your spurs. And that's so then Tuco points the gun at him from behind. Because Tuco was just waiting in the window. He figured his friends were gonna die.
He sent them to their deaths.
Yeah, he did all this proselytizing.
Tuco's surprisingly smart.
Yeah. Tuco comes off as an idiot, but he's actually
pretty brilliant when he needs to be.
He's clever when he wants to be.
He's shrewd.
Yep. So he takes Joe out to the desert, out to the middle of fucking nowhere. Or no, that's not what happens.
Yeah.
Hold on, I know what happens. So he puts a noose. He tells.
Oh yeah, he hands Blondie a noose. Tells him to toss it over the rafter.
I think I called him Joe, but that's fine.
It's the same character.
Yeah.
Toss it over the roof rafter, secure it, then get on a stool and put the noose around his neck. Now Tuco, he has a plan, but his plan is a bit different than their usual plan with the hangman noose. No, see, instead of shooting the rope, he's going to shoot each of the legs of the stool, one by one. And then the shelling starts, and by a damn stroke of fortune, Blondie manages to avoid death.
The floor collapses out on Tuco, and we don't see Blondie at all. Tuco, climbs to the wreckage, he's like...
He finds the noose still hanging, but no Blondie.
And he's like, son of a bitch!
So then this leads to a small chase scene where Tuco is traveling across the desert, finding campfires and cigars and checking them to see how fresh the cigars are, because he knows that Blondie likes to smoke. This is a character trait that has been firmly established over the course of the 3 movies.
Yeah, he's a very heavy smoker.
Eventually he finds a cigar that's still well lit enough for him to get more than a few puffs. So he knows he's close. That's when we get to Blondie attempting the hangman trick with a new guy.
Yep. And it's like Shorty something. Doesn't fucking matter who the guy is. So he's about to shoot it.
He's about to do the whole routine of shooting the switch, shooting the noose, shooting the hats.
Yeah.
When he notices that there's a gun pointed at his face. Tuco's found the son of a bitch.
And he's looking at Tuco and he's like, and Shorty? Sorry, Shorty.
So Shorty gets hung.
And Tuco takes him out to the middle of fucking nowhere. Like he did earlier. Like
Blondie had done to him earlier.
Yep.
And just tortures him the whole way because he's got water. He's got supply of water.
Yeah, he basically tells Blondie, well, the nearest town is 100 miles. It's a long way to walk. There's no Confederates. There's no Union soldiers.
No. What he's saying is that they're going out into an area of the desert that not even the Confederates or the Union will go out to because it's hell. Yep. They don't even want to go in there. But a group of Confederates are coming from one direction. A group of Union are coming from another direction. They're going to be converging. And the only path we have is through hell.
Yep.
And... so they have to walk through hell.
So
Tuco is a son of a bitch during this.
Oh my god, he's amazing. So Blondie starts walking, and Tuco's on a horse. He just pulls out a parasol.
Nice, pretty, frilly pink parasol.
He's like, Tuco's having the time of his life. Oh, it's brilliant. And he's like, "What's wrong? It's only 80 more miles to go." He's walked 20 miles by himself in the sun, just.
Oh, there's one point where Tuco is just sitting and relaxing, soaking his feet in a tub of water as the sun-baked Blondie is slowly crawling towards it. It's like, oh, you want some water? Want some water? Come on. Take a drink. And just as Blondie grabs the bucket, Tuco tips it over.
Blondie looks like hell.
He looks like hell, but Tuco tips the pail over and empties it completely.
It's at this point we realize, Jesus Christ, this guy has gone through a lot, hasn't he? Sunbaked to death, beaten the shit out of, where he's almost a mangled mess, and then beat up again.
Yeah, he goes through hell in these 3 movies at various points.
I mean, he wins in the end.
Oh, yeah.
He always does.
And this is probably the worst he gets in this movie. And we're not even at the halfway point.
No, we're not even halfway through the movie.
I don't even think we're a third of the way into the movie.
We're probably about a third.
Maybe about.
We're just at about the first hour here.
Yeah, this movie is long, but the pacing is fantastic.
Yep.
It doesn't linger too much, and when it does, there's stuff happening, so you're completely distracted from the fact that things are actually taking quite a while. It's a very fun movie. What else happens after that?
So he's about to kill Blondie when he hears something coming, and it's a Confederate wagon.
Third Cavalry.
Third Cavalry. And he stops the horses.
Let me just grab that pin.
Yeah, grabs the horses, looks around, and he finds everybody dead.
Except for one man.
Well, he starts looting the corpse, and that corpse is inside the wagon. And then he finds that one man is still barely alive and pleading for water. A man by the name of Bill Carson. Wearing an eye patch over his right eye. Huh. Okay.
Hey, look, a pin.
Yeah. What do you know? So then...
It's at this point that the plot that the Bat has been following...
The MacGuffin is finally revealed to the other two.
And Tuco learns from the half-dead Carson that there's $200,000 in gold just hiding out in a cemetery on Sad Hill. But he doesn't get the name of the grave.
Yep. Give me just a
And that's
second.
because Bill Carson is pleading for water. So Tuco rushes to go get some water for Carson. And when he gets back, he finds Blondie there, clutching. He actually throws the water bladder at Blondie.
Yep.
Comes back, find that Bill Carson is now deceased. But not before Blondie had a small chat with him. It's at this point that Tuco realizes that Blondie knows under which grave the gold is buried, but Blondie's not saying anything because he's half dead himself from thirst. So Tuco has to basically take this disguise himself as Bill Carson, eye patch and all, disguise Blondie as another Confederate soldier, ride the wagon to a Confederate base, and they're about to leave, but they do get information from like the general, telling them of a church that's taken in wounded soldiers from both sides, and telling him to go there to give Blondie treatment. So he does, and Tuco acts like this very worried friend, almost like a brother. But he's really just wanting Blondie to talk.
Yeah.
But Blondie does recover enough to hold a small conversation with Tuco and...
Yep.
And basically reveals that he's not going to tell him his half of the information. But since he doesn't know which cemetery it's buried in...
So to put into perspective how much $200,000 was in those days. $100 in 1962 was $854.69 today. So that's a lot of fucking money. That's almost $1 million, thereabouts.
So it's worth a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
And it's at this point that Tuco realizes that he can't.
Wait, hold on.
He can't get the money without Blondie's help, and Blondie isn't just going to give him the information for the money. So they have to work together.
I have it here, folks. $200,000 in gold in 1860. Oh wait, hold. 1862 is what I wanted. That was 1962.
Oh.
Hold on. Let's see here.
We're getting the maths out here.
Oh, whoa. Okay, so 1962 was about $854. $200,000 in 1862 is a whopping $5,111,118.12 today. That's how much that is back then.
Wow.
Yeah, 2,455.59% higher back then than it's worth today. So that's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's Confederate gold. It's still gold.
I do love that there's one moment as Blondie's recovering that Tuco tries to convince Blondie that he's gone, that he's done for, and that there's no recovering from it. And I basically asks Blondie to tell him his half of the information, and that he'll honor Blondie's memory with that money.
Yeah.
And Blondie doesn't buy that bullshit. He knows he's gonna be fine. But the two do end up conspiring to head out once Blondie has recovered enough to actually get the money. But before they actually leave, Bill Carson is informed that one of the priests at the parish,
Brother Ramirez,
has returned. He had asked about Brother Ramirez earlier when they arrived.
That's not a joke, by the way. No, that's figurative and literal.
Brother Ramirez. When he showed up at the parish, he had asked about a Brother Ramirez, and had been told that he was out. But now Brother Ramirez has returned, and we get a scene that is very well done as Tuco reunites with his brother, his actual brother, who is now a brother of the church.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they have it's actually a really nice scene.
The brother is upset over the fact that Tuco has become a thief, and informs them that their mother has been dead for the majority of the 9 years that Tuco has not been part of the family. And Tuco, for his credit, is upset over the fact that his brother left to become a priest and just kind of sort of abandoned the family, and reveals that for them in their situation, there were two ways to get out of poverty: become a priest or become a scumbag.
He did it the hard way. He was he calls his brother a coward.
It's actually a really, really nice scene to establish Tuco's character further. Like, we know that he's a scumbag. I mean, he's got like 15 counts against him.
He's a pedophile.
But we get to find out why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
Which is not something that most movies bother to do.
He grew up poor and he had to survive. What else is he supposed to do?
Not bang underage girls. I mean, that's just me.
It was the 1800s, you know. I mean, to be honest,
that doesn't.
To be honest, that statutory rape, just calling it as it is, that statutory rape charge would have been thrown out in court. And you know why.
Yeah. Given the time, yeah.
Dark time those were.
No, Civil War. Yeah. Kind of what the whole war was all about, really.
Yep. Of course, people will argue it's about states' rights versus the.
We know what it's really about.
We know what it's about.
A bunch of racists wanting to remain racists.
The good old American way. Harumph. I didn't hear a harumph.
Harumph.
I'm watching your ass.
Should have gone with the full thing. That would have made it so much more funnier.
Yeah.
Just like in the... We should maybe cover that movie someday.
I don't know. I don't know about that. But the movie we're referencing is Blazing Saddles. I don't know.
Fantastic movie. Go watch it.
Fantastic movie.
A fantastic parody of Westerns.
I don't know about reviewing it, given some of the subject matter in it. I get it's parody, and it's funny parody, but
it's also incredibly on the nose parody.
collar pull kind of stuff.
It's got some colorful language, to be certain.
Colorful is the polite way of putting it.
That's why I said it like that. But
so yeah. So anyway, they go ahead and leave, and they're...
Yeah, Tuco and his brother part ways once more. And now Tuco and Blondie are...
And Tuco starts talking about his brother. Like, very...
Like, oh, no, he loves me. He missed me. He loves me. Just basically trying to cover up the fact that his brother wants nothing to do with him anymore.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and... Blondie can see right through it.
Yeah, Blondie's not dumb.
Well, well, you know, given the next scene that happens, he might be.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So they're riding along in the middle of nowhere, and Blondie keeps asking him, "Where the hell are we going?"
Tuco does not say. No, I'm not killing.
No, I ain't falling for your trick. And then they see a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And Blondie does point out the fact that the route that Tuco is laying out does cross over Confederate and Union lines more than 2 times, maybe more than 5.
A lot.
And he's like,
don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
Don't worry about it. We'll be fine.
At this point, Blondie's the one driving, and Tuco is just kind of relaxing while also giving him the information. Yep. Then Tuco takes over, driving the carriage.
Yeah. And they see a bunch of people showing, riding.
Tuco wakes Blondie up.
And he's like, what color uniforms are they wearing?
Great! We're on the good side.
Yay!
Go Confederacy! Yay, Dixie!
They're down with Grant! Yay with General... What's his name?
Lee.
General Lee!
And then
God must be on our side.
The group of soldiers come up a lot closer and start dusting off their blue uniforms.
Before they do, Eastwood has like an epiphany.
He's are you sure they're on our side?
Like, you can see it in his eyes. She's like, shit.
Tuco, take another look.
God isn't on our side because he doesn't favor idiots.
and the Union soldiers start brushing off their gray, dusty blue uniforms to reveal they're not Confederates.
Nope.
In fact, they now have some more prisoners of war to transport.
Yep.
To a penal colony. A penal colony that actually was mentioned, I think, by the Legless guy. Or some other character. No, okay, so at one point, we kind of overlooked this. There was a point where Angel Eyes goes and visits a Confederate base to get information on Bill Carson. And from this dude who is just completely upset that day in and day out they've had nothing but corn cobs
that's right. And they had nothing but corn cob to eat.
Angel Eyes shares some booze with the dude and even tells him to keep it before leaving.
As you can tell, Angel Eyes really doesn't affect things in this movie.
Yeah, he is a bit player, but he is an important bit player who will soon become a lot more important. But he learns from this dude about a POW camp that the Union have that is not the kind of place you want to find yourself going. Which is exactly where Blondie and Tuco wind up. I'm sorry, Blondie and Bill Carson wind up.
Yeah.
And as they're taken into the camp and all of the POWs are told to form a single file line, Bill Carson notices a familiar face on the Union side. Angel Eyes. Wearing the true blue Union blue. Blue. Did I say blue yet?
Blue dabba dee dabba die.
I feel like I forgot to mention blue.
Yo, listen up.
And blue.
Yo, listen up. This is a story. I don't know the rest.
I don't know either.
Something about a blue guy in a blue house and everything is blue. Like the Union. So the guy reading, and then there's a guy reading out names who we instantly recognize.
Well, I instantly recognize you. It took you a little bit to recognize him. But he is recognizable as being, what was it, Paco?
He's Paco from A Few Dollars More, and he's also the torturer from A Fistful of Dollars. So yeah.
Yeah.
This guy got paid.
Rocking that nice ice car.
Yep.
Yeah. At least in this movie.
Yeah. So he reads out names and...
Bill Carson.
Bill Carson.
Now, by this point...
Is he sleeping?
By this point, Tuco and Clint and Blondie are kind of chatting because they recognize that Angel Eyes is there, and Blondie's like, well, if he's a Union soldier, you better do a good job of playing Bill Carson. Oh, right. Here, I'm right here.
And he gets punched for his troubles.
Because he doesn't go follow the proper military procedure of saying present. He just like, oh, yeah, no, I'm here.
Yeah.
But Angel Eyes, he hears the name Bill Carson, whips around, it's like, what? And then when he sees that it's Tuco, a guy he recognizes, is like, along with Blondie, who he also recognizes, he tells the Union soldiers to treat these two good.
Yeah. In quotations, good.
Then Angel Eyes goes to talk to the commandant of the camp, who tears into him for
improper behavior.
Basically implying that Angel Eyes has been utilizing torture and thievery on the POWs instead of treating them as, proper soldiers who are just prisoners.
Which, he's not wrong.
And Angel Eyes does bring up the point that one of the Confederate prisons has far harsher treatment, but the commandant is like, well, we're not them. We're going to do everything in our power to uphold the ideals and other stuff that this blue uniform represents.
Yep, the integrity of the uniform.
The integrity of the uniform.
Yep. And Angel Eyes doesn't give a shit because he's not even a soldier.
He's conned his way into it, as we've been able to surmise.
Yep. I mean, either he is or he's not.
It's never entirely clear, but I'm willing to believe that he's enough of a con man to swindle his way in.
Probably, yeah. He probably forged papers and whatnot.
It seems like he's probably been around this camp for a while. Probably due to the information he got from the Confederate soldier earlier.
Yep.
Which was a lot earlier. I can't even remember when it was, but it was a lot earlier than
so
this.
He invites Bill Carson to eat.
Oh, he does find a tobacco
clamshell
with the name Carson written inside. At one point, Angel Eyes even goes to visit Bill Carson's whore to get information.
And he fucking tortures her, basically.
And I think so. I barely remember the scene happening at all, honestly.
He basically beats the shit out of her. That's our villain, folks.
That happened between when he talked to the dude with no legs and the Confederate soldier.
Yep.
With the corn cob phobia. It's not a phobia. He just fucking hates corn cobs.
He's sick of eating them.
He's sick of eating corn cobs.
At the old
Confederate base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were the times.
Yeah, you can kind of tell how we kind of blanked at Angel Eyes' presence throughout the movie up until this point.
Because he's not really important up until this point.
He has been doing stuff that has been progressing his side of the plot line, but his side of the plot line hasn't been focused on nearly as much as Tuco and Blondie's side.
It hasn't been as fun as Tuco. He's got the more serious plot line, while those two are just up to wacky hijinks, trying to fucking kill each other.
But Angel Eyes...
Cat and mouse is what that is, and this one is like a serious investigation.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about the serious investigation.
Not really.
But the cat and mouse game...
That's why we kept glossing it over.
Yeah, the cat and mouse game, that's the fun part.
That's what you stick around for, but Angel Eyes calls Bill Carson in to have a bit of a chat with him and, let's just call him Paco. I don't remember what his name is in this movie, but...
I don't think he has
I don't even think his name was Paco.
But no, he wrecked it. So, the jig is up. Angel Eyes knows it's Tuco.
Yeah, Tuco knows Angel Eyes knows that he's not Bill Carson.
And he's like, so, why Bill Carson? Chose to change my name. Why does it matter?
Have a bit of a small meal. Nice touch. And then,
Hey, Tuco, you want to listen to some music while we eat?
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
It helps with the digestion.
Goes to the window and signals to start playing some music. And then a handcuff goes over Tuco's arm that's resting on the chair. And so now he's bound to the chair. And Paco starts beating on him and...
And we get a scene of the music intercut with
Tuco getting the shit beat out of him.
Essentially being tortured.
Yeah. And outside, we get Blondie being talked to by another POW who knows what's going on and tells him that so long as that music is playing, Paco will continue to punch and beat up Blondie's friend until...
And the people who are playing the music, the other Confederates...
They know what's going on.
Yep. They
nobody except this one dude who's safe in a way is saying a word about what's going on because it's too horrific for words.
Yep.
It's torture for them too because they know what's happening.
They're basically...
Ultimately, Tuco does reveal what information about the treasure he knows.
Sad Hill. And then Angel Eyes tries to get more information out of him, and he's like, ask Blondie. So then he's like, okay, well, this will be fun.
So he has Blondie come in and gives Blondie a change of clothes and say, hey, we're getting out of here.
He's like, oh, so I'm not getting the shit beat out of me, huh? And Angel Eyes correctly surmises, well... If I knew that information...
If I tortured you for that information, would you talk?
No.
Probably not. Didn't think so. So
Angel Eyes knows that it's in Blondie's best interests not to talk if he's under torture.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if he's tortured for the information and he talks, he's as good as dead anyway.
Yeah. Angel Eyes knows that Blondie knows this. So he's not even going to waste the effort to try and extract the information from him.
Yep.
Through violent coercion. He's just like, no, let's just go dig up the treasure and split it between us.
What about Tuco? Tuco will be at the end of a rope. Yeah, they're off to go.
So Paco is now handcuffed to Tuco, and they get on a train while Blondie and Angel Eyes head off and camp out in the wilderness. And Blondie shoots a dude, and Blondie tells Angel Eyes, "Hey, just let your guys come out. Like if they sneak up on us again, I'm going to shoot them. They're much safer out in the open where I can see them."
Yep.
And Angel Eyes is like, "Come on out."
Angel Eyes is like, this guy is more dangerous than I thought. I assume what Angel Eyes' plan was originally
was to have them be tailed by his cronies.
Yep.
And then once they got the treasure, have his cronies kill Blondie. But Blondie figured that out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And revealed that that's not how this is going to play out.
Blondie's such a badass in this movie. By the way, his clothes are a bit more familiar.
Yeah, not quite as familiar as I would hope.
They're just missing something.
Yeah.
It's just missing something.
So then we cut back to Tuco on the train with Paco.
And he tries to steal the keys.
He tries to steal the gun.
Oh, he tries to steal the gun. And Paco's like, yeah, you would like to get your hands on that. Because Paco's pretending to sleep.
It's like,
No,
we've been traveling for 10 hours and I really gotta pee.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fine. They go to the side of the train car. It's like, go on. It's like, well, I can't do it while you're watching. And Paco has to turn away. And then Tuco tackles them both off the train through the open boxcar door.
Yeah, Tuco basically jumps out
and drags Paco with him.
And Paco hits his head on something, and Tuco proceeds to kill him.
Well, he hits his head on something, but he's not out for the count.
Yeah.
But earlier, Tuco did tell him, if I can get you down, you are finished.
Yep.
And he lives up to that claim by actively killing Paco.
Brutally, with a rock. To the back of the skull.
But he doesn't have the keys. And using the butt of the gun isn't working. And the gun keeps jamming, so he can't shoot the chain off. He tries beating it with a rock, and that's not working. So finally,
he just uses the railroad itself.
He lays Paco on the rails, lays off to the side, pretending to be dead or whatever.
Waits for a train to come, and it works.
Train comes, actually picks up Paco and drags it for a while before leaving. Now that Tuco is free of his restraint, he manages to get on board the train and ride it.
Right off into the sunset. Well, sort of. But, yeah. So, bit of a side tangent here. Not even related to it. No,
keep going. I'll be right back.
It's not related to anything, but I don't want to have chili twice in one day. Just a side tangent. Not really anything related to this video. It's just, at work I had chili, and now having chili at home. So
you just realized that.
I knew that. I just thought.
Well, it's similar to my situation. Yesterday I opened up a bag of Lay's crunchy taco chips, and then we had tacos for dinner.
Yeah. That was your fault, though.
I didn't know you guys were having tacos. I'd already opened the bag.
Yeah, I know.
Alright, what's the next plot detail?
The town that's being bombed.
Oh, yeah, bombarded. Yeah, okay. Okay, now I know. Yeah. Tuco manages to find his way to the town. Blondie and Angel Eyes are already there.
Their crew's going.
There's one guy who actually recognizes Tuco, and Tuco goes into an abandoned
hotel and decides to go take a bath.
That has seen much better days.
Yep.
And decides to take a bath. And this dude sneaks up to the hotel room and finds his way in and confronts Tuco. It's like, This dude's missing an arm, and he has not forgiven the fact that Tuco is the one responsible for him losing the arm. Mm-hmm. But he's trained himself to shoot with his left hand. And so what I'm going to do...
Yeah, so Tuco shot him while in the tub. And Tuco comes out, and he's got his... Because he had his gun underneath the bubbles.
It's like, if you're going to shoot, don't talk.
He's like...
Don't talk, just shoot.
Yeah. If you're in a situation where you need to shoot, don't talk, just shoot. Yeah, that's another brilliant...
But then
like, this character has no importance whatsoever other than to just that joke.
But it does a fantastic job. And then he hears a knock on the door. It's like, hold on, let me get out of the tub and dry it off, and I'll come answer the door. So he waits buck naked by the door.
Click. Hey, Tuco. Blondie!
No, not through the door. Through the gaping hole in the wall behind him.
Yeah. Hey, Tuco.
Oh, hey, Blondie.
You want to go kill some bastards? Oh!
But first, take your gun off and put some pants on.
Yeah, Tuco's like, you really gonna join me? I know we were partners to the end.
Yeah, shut up, put some pants on, and take off that gun.
Yeah, so Blondie had walked away from the group, and Angel Eyes had sent one of his men to follow him.
But Angel Eyes was keen on this and actually managed to take the guy out and kill him before Angel Eyes could find out.
Yep.
And when Angel Eyes does find out, he sends his 4 remaining men to go hunt down Blondie. Water.
Yep. And
then we get some nice action scenes of Tuco and Blondie working together to take out the remaining 3 thugs, or the remaining 4 thugs. And they think they get the drop, and it is pretty fantastic. And there is actually one moment where the 2 thugs and Blondie and Tuco are facing off against each other. Then the road right in between them gets shelled, and the thugs, they don't know what's going on. They are like half hoping that Blondie and Tuco are dead, but Blondie and Tuco are not, and the thugs are now dead. Because Blondie and Tuco were not dead. And then they think they get the drop on Angel Eyes, but it turns out it was just the one thug that Blondie took out on his own earlier. And a message.
Oh, the best thing in the entire movie, too. This one's another great one. See you soon. Blondie takes the paper.
It says idiots, so it's for you.
It's for you. Ruthless. Blondie has some of the best one-liners in this entire. He gives no fucks.
Tuco may be the standout comedic character, but Blondie does get some good ribs in.
Blondie's the deadpan snarker of the group. Like Tuco has all the funny lines, and Angel Eyes doesn't say a fucking funny thing throughout.
And I think at this point we're now about 2 hours into the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, like Tuco has all the funny lines. I don't think Angel Eyes says a single funny thing.
Well, he's supposed to be the bad guy. We're not supposed to care about him.
Well, I mean,
he's not supposed to be the charmer.
I suppose.
We want him to meet his maker by the end of it.
I suppose. Yeah, he doesn't say a single funny thing throughout the entire movie. And then there's Clint.
He is in stark contrast to his Douglas character from A Few Dollars
More. Who is genuinely funny. Also,
I'm really glad that we're finally getting back to this.
Yeah.
It took so long between when we covered that last movie.
Yeah, long story short, I wasn't willing to pay up the $20 or however it was to buy this movie.
Cheapskate.
And I'm not really cheapskate, it's just I didn't have money at the time and I just wasn't willing to spend $20 on something we'd probably only watch once.
Fair point.
So we just waited till it was on Netflix, and it's on Netflix, I believe, until May.
So we got like a few more days.
We got a few more days with it.
So go check it out. We're gonna keep going. This is not the end of this podcast by a long shot. We got more to say.
But you got those two characters. That was just a side note.
Yeah.
You got those two characters, and then you've got Blondie, Clint Eastwood's character, who has a lot of funny lines, but he delivers it
in such a deadpan way.
He's a deadpan snarker, and he delivers it in such
kind of like Leslie Nielsen in just about any comedy movie he's in.
Pretty much.
Naked Gun, Airplane.
Like, Leslie Nielsen is a funny guy. Like, he's an actual comedian.
Oh, yeah.
And he's funny even without the deadpan, but the way he delivers his lines in the deadpan way makes it funnier than if he would have done it normally.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, getting back to
Anyway, my favorite... So there was a line that I quoted that was really funny and really apt for the next scene. So Blondie and Tuco are walking. They're just walking. They're traveling, and then they get captured by Union soldiers again. And they're taken to the captain, and it's a battle about to happen.
Yeah, and the captain's like, "Why are you here?
Why are you traveling through this way?"
And
Tuco instinctively was like, "We're here to enlist."
And Blondie gives him the looks like,
"You motherfucker,
son of a bitch."
Son of a... What?
Now, if you want to enlist, you gotta take some tests. You gotta pass the test.
Yeah.
Be qualified.
Gives him a bottle. Blondie drinks a little bit of it and hands it back to him. And the captain's like, "You disgust me."
Hands it to Tuco, who just starts chugging.
And he's like, this one's got a lot of potential. So here,
the gist of the scene in this captain's dialogue is that his troops are fighting with the Confederates over a bridge. And both the Confederate side of the army and the Union side of the army want this bridge intact. They don't want it to be destroyed. But both sides are losing so many soldiers just to take this one bridge intact that he is fucking pissed off at this goddamn bridge. And the only way he can keep on fighting is to keep on drinking. Because that's the only thing that makes sense to him in this bleak times. It is...
as you can tell, he cares about his men.
He cares about his men. He doesn't give two shits about the bridge. But he knows that his side and the other side are sending both soldiers en masse to their deaths to fight over a goddamn bridge.
And so he's like, I've wanted to blow it up.
I've dreamt about blowing it up.
And I got a plan, too. I know how to blow it up. But alas... Oh, hey, the battle's starting. So yeah, Blondie and Tuco watch this battle commence.
It is a bit of a bloodbath on both sides. It is
essentially the cannon fire hitting the trenches, and then you've got a bunch of men on both sides running
at each other across the bridge,
and just swinging at each other, swinging for the fences. And it's bloody, and Tuco and Blondie make the decision. We're gonna blow this bridge up, get them the fuck out of here, so we can move on.
Yeah, they're watching this, and they kind of duck down behind some crates when some gunfire gets near them. And Blondie, who's smoking his cigar, doesn't quite notice what Tuco is seeing. The words that are written on the side of the box. And explosive.
And the best part is when Blondie does notice, he takes a cigar out and moves it away. He's like, nope. Blondie's great. Oh, man. So, once the battle is over and everybody's picking up
pieces,
they
find the captain has been gravely wounded. And I think
Blondie hands him a bottle of booze, and he's like, "Hold on to this. Keep your spirits high. You're in for some good news.
And keep your ears open.
Keep your ears open.
You're bound to hear some good news."
And the captain gives him a smile.
So Blondie and Tuco covertly sneak.
They steal! They fucking steal!
They steal a man's stretcher from him to transport explosives covertly to the bridge.
Yeah. And nobody notices!
Well, to be fair, there are dead and dying bodies all over the place being transported.
But you would think somebody would look and see, those guys aren't carrying wounded, they're carrying a box. Huh.
It's kind of the juxtaposition of they're doing something so blatantly, but there's so much horror going on around them that nobody cares.
Exactly.
So they make it to the bridge and start wading their way up through the water, placing explosives on like every one of the supports, and they make it to the other side, and they light the fuse, and then they duck into a trench with Tuco having dived in head first, so his ass is facing where the explosion's gonna come from, and the bridge explodes.
And then cannon fire begins because everybody's pissed.
And the captain, who has asked the doctor to keep him alive long enough for him to hear some good news, hears the explosion and dies happy.
Yep. He mission accomplished.
At least his mission.
Yeah. So then we get the final part of the battle. Everybody's pissed. There's mass chaos. And Blondie and Tuco just sort of sleep through the explosion. They sleep through the chaos. Tuco is sleeping ass up. Which is the best part.
I don't think they're actually sleeping. They're still they still have their heads covered.
I don't know. Cause like it happens overnight, and then the next morning Blondie kicks Tuco to wake him up. And he's like, "Huh? What?"
I didn't realize it lasted overnight. I thought it was.
Yeah, it was overnight.
Huh.
Well, how do you see how? Because everybody's disappeared, and so my question is, if it was only a matter of hours, how does everybody just disappear in a matter of hours instead of overnight, which was likely what happened?
I figured that the cannon fire was real quick, and once they realized that the bridge they were fighting that both sides were fighting over was lost, both sides just retreated.
Maybe.
And abandoned the
so anyway, they crossed the bridge.
Well, I think they were already on the other side.
Maybe. Might have been.
It's irrelevant because they make it to the other side of the river that they needed to get across.
Yep. And they go up and they find they find somebody dying. They find a young Confederate soldier dying.
Well, Blondie does.
Yep.
Tuco goes to find a means of transport.
Yep. And he
finds a dying soldier, offers him his coat,
gives him a cigarette, gives him a few puffs of his cigar. And
the man expires, and he's about to take his coat back. It's like, nah, keep it.
And then he takes
a poncho that's laying nearby.
The final piece of the puzzle is complete. His outfit is complete. And that's exactly what makes this a true prequel.
Yeah, this is the outfit that Joe and Menko are wearing, and for a few dollars, or for a fistful of dollars and a few dollars more.
Yeah, with some accessories, but here and there.
Yeah. But this is the most pristine this poncho has looked the entire series, so you know it's a first. That is a fantastic touch. And what's awesome is that you can actually watch any of these movies independently without having seen the others and still get a hell of a lot of enjoyment.
Uh-huh.
You could have seen the first two movies, gone into this movie, not knowing that it was connected to the other two, then see that and it's like, oh shit!
Uh-huh. Oh, I don't know how.
Which actually helps quite a bit because the film's title doesn't itself indicate that it's part of the other two movies.
Nope.
So, fantastic touch. I think we've finally reached about the last half hour or so.
We've reached the finale.
Tuco manages to get a horse.
Tries to run away, and Blondie scares him down. Takes out a cigar. He stands next to a cannon, and he lights the cannon.
Tuco gets knocked off his horse. The horse goes running off.
Yep. But Tuco finally finds it. He's made it.
He's made it to Sad Hill, and that music, which you've probably heard in that one beer commercial. What company has used that in their beer commercial?
Every company has used it. Budweiser, NFL, everything.
Oh, it's just that, crescendoing singing music. You know the one from the commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it first shows up, and it is so much better in this scene as Tuco just runs through the graveyard. I feel I should mention that while they were planting the explosives on the bridge, Tuco reveals his half of the secret, and Blondie reveals that it's buried under
a name.
Stan Ashton. I think that's wrong.
Give me a second. Keep going.
But Tuco finally makes it to the cemetery, and we get a nice montage covered by this epic music of Tuco just running throughout the cemetery, looking at the gravestones, trying to find Stan Ashton. The name Stan Ashton, and finally,
Arch Stanton.
I knew it was an S and an A.
Yeah.
Arch Stanton, and he finally finds this grave, and it's the end of his journey, and he grabs a plank of wood and starts digging, and then a shovel gets shoved his way. Blondie has given him a shovel and told him to dig. But then a third guy with a shovel shows up.
It's Angelize. Hey, told you guys you'd see me soon.
So now, finally, we are at the finale of the movie. And they dig up the grave. And they open it up, and it's a corpse. It's a skeleton. It's a dead body.
You lied to me! You think I'd trust you with that information? Nah. You're gonna have to earn it.
So he goes out he picks up a rock, goes out into this wide crater-looking clearing, and writes a name on the rock and places it down in the middle, and each man takes their position around the crater with a stand. They are going to stand off.
It's a Mexican standoff.
Nobody has their guns drawn, so technically it's not a Mexican standoff, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is where that term came from, because this is a tense moment of everybody.
It's a three-way duel, but it's considered a Mexican standoff,
okay.
or otherwise known as a truel.
But yeah, no, it's three guys. They've got none of them has their hand on their gun, but they can quickly grab it if they need to. And and it just cuts between their faces glancing at each other, their hands near their guns, and the tension, and then finally, everybody draws, and both Tuco and Blondie shoot Angel Eyes dead before he can get a shot off. And then, Blondie shoots Angel Eyes dead. Tuco tries until he finds out that he doesn't actually have any ammo.
Yep. He's like, when did you empty my gun? Last night.
Fair point.
Last night during all the chaos. He's like, you son of a bitch. So they dig up. So they find out where the
Blondie reveals that the grave that the money is buried under isn't Arch Stanton's grave. It's the unknown grave next to Arch Stanton. Which I kind of figured once I saw that there was a grave marked unknown.
Yeah.
It was fairly obvious to me. That, and I had actually already seen this climax years earlier.
It's a great climax.
Yeah.
It's a beautifully shot scene.
Yeah, I just happened to catch it while it was on TV once, so.
So yeah, they dig it up, and then Tuco's
8 bags of gold.
Tuco's all happy because he's like, gold.
He uses his shovel to break open one of the bags, and yes, gold.
Oh. And he looks up, and he stops, smiling and everything, and there's a noose there. Blondie hung up a noose. And he basically
forces Tuco to stand up on the grave marker, put his neck in the noose, ties Tuco's hands behind his back, takes 4 of the bags,
and leaves.
Tells Tuco he can have the other 4 and leaves. Blondie!
You son of a
bitch! And then Blondie shoots the noose.
Yeah, Blondie comes back, shoots the noose, just to prove a point. To prove the point he was trying to make the entire movie. That, hey, it doesn't matter if your neck's around the noose, I'm the one who does the shooting. Blonde and Tuco's like, you son of a bitch!
And Blondie just rides off.
And that's the end of the movie. It's like an extra 2 minutes of him riding off, and it's like, come on, Sergio, we didn't need this, please. I had to go home.
He tried to push it to 3 hours as best he could, but he couldn't quite.
He fucking got it, because it's 177 minutes.
My god damn, this is a long movie, but you do not feel like it.
See, it doesn't feel like it. It's great.
It is fantastic. Great end to this trilogy. Great start to this trilogy, I suppose I should say. But god damn, this has been an incredibly fun ride. Tuco, for as much of a scumbag as he's revealed to be, is the best character in this movie. Like, I can't bring myself to hate him, despite all the terrible things he's done.
Yeah.
Like, he is surprisingly lovable, despite being told early on that he is a fucking creep and a scumbag.
Yep. He's the most likable thing in the entire movie, which is sad. Both sad and nice.
I mean, granted, Angel Eyes, when he actually does do stuff that involves the other two, does a fantastic job with what he's doing. And Blondie is a fantastic straight man to Tuco. And the chemistry between him and Tuco just is fantastic. And the driving force of this movie, outside of, the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So glad we finally got around to watching this. I was intimidated by the runtime, but it went by a lot more pleasantly than I had thought.
So yeah, once again, Sergio Leone's fucking Christ, I can't say his name for the life of me. Sergio Leone's most famous film, and it's still a great film. God, I don't know what to rate this. I'd honestly rate this like a 9.5 out of 10.
I'd give it a 10.
It's that close. It's that close to greatness but I don't think it's his best film. That's why. That's why I'm not rating it a 10 out of 10. Even by the man's admission, his personal. So I'm just gonna say it outright. His personal magnum opus was Once Upon a Time in America, a 3-hour long movie about the mob. Very similar to The Godfather. Okay. So, that was his personal magnum opus. My opinion is his magnum opus was Once Upon a Time in the West. A 2-hour, 45-minute Western that itself was a commentary on the genre of the Western. It was very much a self-conscious effort to explain that why the genre's dying as it was at that time. Because it's sort of fell out of favor in the late 60s.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But 9.5 out of 10, I'd say that's a very good film. So after this wild ride, what are we doing next?
I don't know. We should probably search for clues. Let's split up.
Shit. Alright, I suppose so. I'll go this way, you go that way.
Alright. Don't lose your glasses this time.
Fuck you, I don't have any glasses.
Alright.
I got LASIK eye surgery.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
All right, yeah, we're not gonna do any recommendations. This one's gone on, I think, long enough, and
Tank's not here, so it's not like it matters.
I mean, I could give a recommendation, but I want to wait until next time.
Okay.
I want to give
enough.
more thought to what I want to recommend. So no recommendations this time, but hopefully they return next time.
Maybe. I don't have anything myself, personally.
So
But, yeah, god damn. That, 1.5 hours. That's actually solid. That's very solid.
it's like half the length of the actual movie.
I was hoping for the worst, but there's not really much to talk about it.
Like we've said, it's a long movie, but it's paced so well that it doesn't feel like it's that
it's a
long.
straight popcorn flick. There's nothing too deep about it.
No, it's a straightforward story that takes a few zigs and zags, but the focus, the end point, is something that that is established so early on that you know that that's where they're going to get to, and pretty much everything else is just a side plot to furthering that main plot.
No, you know what this is? It might be a spaghetti western, but it's a journey movie.
Oh hell yeah!
It's a road trip movie.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's a road trip movie with scumbags.
It is it is a very heavily veiled road trip movie.
Yeah.
With a MacGuffin at the end.
Yeah.
That's like North by Northwest almost, because that's a spy parody by Hitchcock, but it's also a road trip movie because he travels everywhere. With that said, I think it's a good time to end the episode.
Yeah. I've been ProtoMet.
This is my Recycle Balls.
See ya.
See ya.